Part 66. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 656. Chapter 656. What is the secret place? Is there a cultivator? Shopkeeper Qian and the whole dispensers, as well as Lu Cheng, who is very ordinary in appearance and face to face, were taken aback and looked at the direction Wei Wei looked at. Wei Suo seems to be looking for the true darkness city central region, but neither divine consciousness nor the secret place, they are aware of the existence of any cultivator. They seem to have already seen us, and we may have seen the escape light when we came. Wei Suo nodded and said nothing about surging sound se. What are they now? Secret place, fellow Daoist G, can you feel that they are coming to us? How many people do they have? The faces of shopkeeper Qian and Kong's shopkeepers suddenly showed excitement and nervousness. Only the basic city is in good condition, there is order, and there is order. The safety of the general cultivator can be guaranteed. Under such a lust shape, if the other party is a good person, it may help the great treasure. If it is the kind of fierce generation of men killing more and more goods, maybe it will be the disaster. There are at least 7 or 8 cultivators, but there should be no danger. We used to meet them. However, Wei Suo's god was very calm. After saying this to shopkeeper Qian and others, he took the road ahead. So far, Wei Suo's is indeed moving towards the true darkness city central region, but after 1,000 feet, Wei Suo has not stopped yet, still leading the way. Fellow Daoist G, can you perceive the existence of a cultivator beyond such a distance? Those cultivators, now secret place, after walking for nearly 1,000 feet behind Wei Suo, shopkeeper Qian and Kong Guanzi looked at each other and couldn't help it. They were extremely worried. In their view, even the golden core cultivator of the golden core 5th layer, divine consciousness, is unlikely to perceive 2,000 feet. They now have even some doubts about what Wei Suo wants to do. Upon hearing the shopkeeper Qian and the whole dispenser, Wei Suo stopped and turned around, as if to open the mouth to explain what it was, but his eyes were slightly flickered for a moment. Pa! At the same time, just in front of the pedestrian, a secret place outside a few miles, suddenly a surging sound is obviously what the surgery shift of the shapeshift great art impact hard, and at the same time, a surging sound is obviously out of the cultivator. Very panic low surging sound exclaiming surging sound. There is a cultivator. Shopkeeper Qian and Kong's treasurer and others were amazed at the great treasure, and some could not speak. Is there a fellow Daoist? At this time, Wei Suo screamed a surging sound against the secret place of the surging sound se. Where are you from, fellow Daoist? A surging sound is obviously a bit of a panic of surging sound. We are a cultivator from Corn Mine City. Shopkeeper Qian saw Wei Suo look at him and looked at it. After a slight sigh, he surging sound. Corn Mine City's cultivator? Fellow Daoist you. The surging sound of the other party suddenly became a bit strange. Fellow Daoist, are you shopkeeper Zhang? Shopkeeper Qian and the whole dispenser seemed to have responded at the same time. The naked body is a fierce shock, with some incredible surging sound. Shopkeeper Qian. Really you? Still. The other party also immediately had a surprisingly surging sound. Shopkeeper Zhang, I am the whole great treasure year. The whole dispenser is extremely excited about the surging sound. Whole dispenser. I don't think you are actually. I can't think of it, and I can meet you at this secret place. But you be careful, just like there is a monster beast in the vicinity. The other party was also excited, but immediately reminded a little nervous. The other party is too familiar, fellow Daoist. This lust shape is such that Wei Suo is somewhat unexpected. Just he is no the whole dispensers and other people suspected, so deliberately let their mind-devouring bug in the vicinity of Nong out some noise, let the other side some alarm, before he is through, and mind-devouring bug unique induction, know each other although the number of many, but cultivation base is not high, light on his mind-devouring bug can deal with, so he is not a little nervous, just didn't think the other side is still a whole dispensers and other people's old knowledge. Moreover, the shopkeepers of the general city pool shops are busy with business, and the cultivation base is not too high, but I did not expect that there are so many shopkeepers survived. So many people have already had 3 treasurers. Shopkeeper Zhang is the treasurer of the Rhinoceros Horn City Lingjing Pavilion. We have seen it several times before, and Jiao Lust is not bad. I did not expect to actually meet here. Shopkeeper Qian nodded and then was Aoka deep breath. Netherworld City is south of True Darkness City, while Rhinoceros Horn City is east of True Darkness City. One is to the heavenly profound continent northern part, one is horizontal. But between Rhinoceros Horn City and True Darkness City, there is also a Muishanken. Now that shopkeeper Zhang is in this secret place, it means that Muishanken is probably no longer there. If so, how many places has Beast Tide swept this time? Because these cities are known to all, these areas are connected and are already 1/5 of the heavenly profound continent northern part. Go, we used to meet them. Wei Suo's heart was also shocked, but the god Se on his face was not too great. After nodding to shopkeeper Qian, Wei Suo then led the way to shopkeeper Zhang and others. His divine consciousness is shrouded, and the monster beast that the other person said is his mind-devouring bug, so he is not too scolding for great treasure. While shopkeeper Qian's Jinling Bi is not aware of the existence of mind-devouring bug, it is because of this that shopkeeper Qian and others only think that there is no high-level monster beast in True Darkness City, so it is also not too worried. After all, in the lust shape of the shapeshift great art with more than a few spirit rank middle grades, the general level 5 monster beast, they should also be able to deal with. After a while, mind-devouring bug went to Wei Suo's 20 in the case of shopkeeper Qian and others who did not know the lust. Wei Suo felt that the 2 tentacles that his mind-devouring bug had broken had not been good, but the rest were not traumatized, and the vitality was very strong. Shopkeeper Zhang, I can't think of meeting this secret place. After a while, a group of cultivators appeared in the ruins. Shopkeeper Qian and the whole shopkeeper and a person in front of the other side wearing a dark green SE robes, and a long-haired squatting old man who saw each other, were a little excited to be themselves. Wei Suo looked at this group of cultivators. There are a total of 7 people in this group of cultivators. In addition to shopkeeper Zhang wearing a dark green SE robes, there is a bearded middle-aged cultivator wearing a bronze leather armor, carrying a long sword with a red SE, very conspicuous. It should be a sword cultivator, the cultivation base of the heavenly circuit realm 5th layer. The remaining 5 are young male cultivators less than 30 years old, all from the divine sea realm 4th layer to the cultivation base of the 5th layer. Shopkeeper Zhang, how come you are in this secret place? Is Rhinoceros Horn City completely destroyed in Beast Tide? After a bit of excitement at the beginning, shopkeeper Qian arched the cultivator on the shopkeeper Zhang side. After a ceremony, he immediately couldn't help but look at shopkeeper Zhang. Rhinoceros Horn City has been completely ruined. You even came here. Isn't Corn Mine City coming all the way, also ruined? Shopkeeper Zhang has been deeply sucked in and calmed down. This plain-faced old man looks like his eyes are bloodshot, some unkempt, and looks very embarrassing. Fellow deist, we went back and said that it was still somewhat unsafe outside. The bearded middle-aged cultivator wearing a bronze leather armor kept looking around, and Lust said very seriously. This is Joe. Fellow deist, he is the cultivator of ancient sword sect. Fellow deist G turned out to be the cultivator of Northern Spirit City. Heaven First City, Corn Mine City, North Spirit City, these cities along the way, have been. There are 4 surviving. Fellow deist. Next, Wei Suo and others followed behind shopkeeper Zhang and others, heading towards the back of the True Darkness City. While traveling, while talking about Xiao, Wei Suo and others knew that Rhinoceros Horn City was indeed destroyed in Beast Tide. Shopkeeper Zhang is just about to ship a shipment of concocting pills to True Darkness City. The result is 1,000 miles from True Darkness City, and Beast Tide has swept through. Shopkeeper Zhang and others relied on an ancient talisman that could hide the atmosphere, hiding in a swamp along the way for a few days before they escaped. Now the five of Shopkeeper Zhang's group look 30 years old. The young male cultivator is his former shop, and he is the clerk of the goods. The other bearded middle-aged cultivator was encountered only after they went to True Darkness City. The cultivator is called Zhou Yuj, the cultivator of Heavenly Profound Continent Central Region, but he and several fellow deists are just around the Heavenly Profound Continent True Darkness City. The result was a beast tide, but only 3 people escaped, but on the way to True Darkness City, Zhou Yuj and other 3 people also saved 2 cultivators. Now the other 4 cultivators are stuck in a secret place temporary home built in True Darkness City, where they also construct a shapeshift great art array that can hide. After the group arrived in True Darkness City, they did not leave. They had been in True Darkness City for 5 days, but during these 5 days, they did not encounter other surviving cultivators. Shopkeeper Zhang, the monster beast in True Darkness City, are you cleaning up? Wei Suo couldn't help but ask when he was about to get close to the hiding place of Shopkeeper Zhang and others. Yes, because we are afraid that the bodies of these monster beasts will lead to some succulent monster beasts coming, so the bodies of all the monster beasts in True Darkness City are slowly cleaned up and piled up in a secret behind True Darkness City. Place in the valley. Shopkeeper Zhang is very polite. Under this kind of lust, the relationship between each surviving cultivator seems to be close to a lot. Are all in the valley behind? Wei Suo's thoughts flashed, and his mind-devouring bug came from behind the Darkness City, but it was very likely to suck the brain of the monster beast in the secret place valley. After a few moments, Shopkeeper Zhang and others took Wei Suo and others to their hiding place in True Darkness City. Their hiding place was actually placed in a hollowed-out Pangret treasure tortoise. This tortoise shell is slightly more retro treasure than the purple flame beetle, showing a reddish SE, with many flaming patterns around the body, and some fire baleful aura stream reveals. This is a tortoise shell of the level 6 mid-level monster beast. There are many traces of shapeshift great art powerful energy on the tortoise shell, and there are several giant treasure pits around it. At this moment, the tortoise shell is also placed at the bottom of a pit. It seems that this level 6 mid-level monster beast was killed by a cultivator that was not weak in the cultivation base when the True Darkness City was broken. After entering the tortoise shell behind Shopkeeper Zhang and others, Wei Suo is a slight glimpse. At first glance, the other 4 cultivators that Shopkeeper Zhang and others said were all in the hollowed-out giant treasure tortoise. Among the 4 cultivators, one is a very beautiful yellow cultivator, and another cultivator, but lying still on the ground. It seems that the injury is very serious. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 657. Chapter 657. In exchange for monster core. Wei Suo has already heard from Shopkeeper Zhang and others, and there are 4 cultivators, but I didn't think there was a beautiful female cultivator in the 4 cultivators, so it was a bit unexpected. I couldn't help but see 2 more. Foam. This female cultivator looks like a 20-year-old, the cultivation base of the heavenly circuit 4th layer, the skin is white, looks a little weak, and there is a slight flaw between the gods. There are other surviving fellow deists. As soon as I saw a few more cultivators, the 4 cultivators in the tortoise shell were slightly surprised. How did this fellow deist suffer such a heavy injury? At this time, Wei Suo's eyes swept away, and when he looked at the other 3, he was shocked and couldn't help but scream out a surging sound. Among the tortoise shells, there is a black shirt cultivator standing next to the beautiful female cultivator. This black shirt cultivator is the cultivation base of the thought division 1st layer. It is tall and great treasure, 30 years old, and the table lust is somewhat old-fashioned. It feels like a tower. Another 1.5 squatting beside the injured cultivator, in the care of the injured cultivator, is a 30-year-old cultivator dressed in a blue shirt Confucian. This Confucian dressed cultivator is the cultivation base of the heavenly circuit realm 3rd layer. The injured cultivator lying down at the moment is a 30-year-old great treasure, and Wei Suo couldn't help but be surprised that the cultivator was very hurt, with one arm attached. Half of the body, great treasure, most of the blood row has been cut off by the general weapon, although at this moment smeared some healing yao things, the blood is already stopped, but many bones are outside. It looks shocking. Yang fellow deist is under the tree with the red fruit, so this is the only thing, but the blood row on him is removed by Xiao fellow deist. Shopkeeper Zhang looked at Wei Suo and others and explained. Shopkeeper Zhang, what do you say? When we came along the way, we also saw that there were cultivators under the trees, so we didn't dare to approach these strange trees all the way. What are the strange things about these trees? Upon seeing the horror of the injured cultivator, I heard that the blood row on his body was removed by the rest of the people. The person in the hole and the other people suddenly couldn't take care of the other, and they all asked some questions. We didn't see the cultivator that fell under this kind of tree, so I don't know how powerful it is. I can't help but wonder. I want to see if there is something under this kind of tree lying on the ground. Of the surname Yang cultivator seems to seeing life has no worries, slowly explained. The result, I was close to the 5 feet of such trees. I feel this kind of trees scattered origin chi as highly toxic, miasma general eccentric, although I am not right, then immediately back, but Xiao naked body in half stick of the incense time, or quickly stiffwood general, can't move, and this kind of tree of this strange origin chi also along naked body table and blood row to the inside and other aspects spread, thanks to Shaw fellow deist was behind me, not by this kind of tree's strange origin chi attack. Later helpless, Shaw fellow deist helped me to the stiffwood of the blood row all removed, then those removed from the stiffwood of blood row, all became as if after many years of sun and wine the grey se deadwood generally. Blood row becomes a dead wood, so weird. Wei Suo and shopkeeper Qian couldn't help but look at each other and have a slight cold in their hearts. If you don't want to remove these blood row, I am afraid that I have now become a dead wood all over the body. The seriously injured Yang surnamed Great Treasure Han said with a bitter smile, and the kind of tree's origin chi is very weird, even the divine light screen can penetrate. At that time, the shapeshift great art shield and the divine light screen that we sacrificed were not damaged at all, but there was no half-blocking effect at all. My right arm seems to be contaminated with the wet water, and soon the blood is become rigid. We just saw the cultivator who was falling down under the tree. The naked body was a little gray, and I didn't dare to approach it. I didn't expect it to be so weird. Shopkeeper Qian had a lingering fear and turned to look at shopkeeper Zhang. There are 2 other trees, do you know? Yang fellow deist and Xiao fellow deist just explored the trees with red fruits. It was so unfortunate that the trees looked very strange and we didn't dare to approach, so there was nothing for the other 2 trees to understanding. Shopkeeper Zhang shook his head. There are no good healing yao on fellow deist. We are now using the reproductive reflex muscle for Yang fellow deist, but this kind of rank yao, it is estimated that Yang fellow deist will have to lie at least 2 months before he can barely recover. At this point, the seemingly weak, yellow cultivator was a gift to Wei Suo and others, and asked for light surging sound. I have some spiritual yao, and I should be able to make the recovery of Yang fellow deist recover quickly. After Wei Suo's eyes flickered for a moment, he said this. Between the hands, the red great treasure on the hand, filled with the entire giant treasure tortoise, but the blood crystal stone was taken out. In the eyes of everyone, after a slow injection of true yuan, a drop of aromatic blood red cao liquid, from the lower end of the blood crystal stone. Wei Suo reached out and shook the blood red cao liquid directly, sprinkled it on the negative body of Yang's great treasure Han half body, and then focused on true yuan, then dripped a drop of yao liquid, pointing to Yang's surname great treasure Han's mouth. I saw the first drop of yao liquid sprinkled on the half of Yang's great treasure Han. Yang's great treasure Han Han's eyes immediately flashed an incredible surprise. God se, see the second drop of blood red cao droplets. This the great treasure Han almost couldn't wait to open his mouth and swallowed the yao liquid. This, the weak yellow cultivator and several cultivators beside her, the face immediately showed a very shocking God se. Because these several cultivators first saw many of the wounds of the negative body of the half-body naked body of the Han family, and soon there were many fine zyro buds growing up, and the injury recovered with an astonishing degree. Fellow Daoist G, are you blood crystal stone? Shopkeeper Zhang and shopkeeper Qian saw this scene. After staying for a while, they saw an unbelievable God in their eyes, and couldn't help but look at Wei Suo and asked. Under this is indeed the blood crystal stone. Wei Suo nodded and did not move the surging sound se, and put away the blood crystal stone in his hand. Blood crystal stone, what is the great treasure? Kong shopkeeper looked at Yang's great treasure. Han was very shocking, and he couldn't help but pour a cold air and asked. Blood crystal stone is extremely rare when it comes to ancient treasure. You can use monster yuan to absorb monster beast chi and blood, and then it will contain holy blood. The blood of the crystal stone is comparable to some of the sacred yao that treats the wounds of the fleshly body. Shopkeeper Zhang looked at Wei Suo with some incredulity. He didn't seem to believe Wei Suo's low-grade cultivator. He actually had such a great treasure. Fellow Daoist is the last name. Fellow Daoist has such a great treasure on my body. It is my great treasure. It seems that my injury can be restored as long as it takes a few days. Thank you, fellow Daoist, for your treatment. The long-lived Yang surnamed Great Treasure. Han felt for a moment, could not help but excited to thank Wei Suo. Which fellow Daoist is the cultivator of which city? How come to True Darkness City? Next, the yellow cultivator and other people naturally couldn't help but talk to Wei Suo and others. This beautiful yellow shirt female cultivator named Xia Yubing, she was wearing a black shapeshift great art clothes of the tower like great treasure. Han named Du Wei. Two people is a pair of Dao companion. It is that face bearded ancient sword sex sword cultivator Zhou companions, huge heavenly, profound og cultivator. Their line is 7 people to heavenly profound continent, met region beast, have survived the 3 of them, hurt heavy great tide Han treasure and Yang Feng dozen. Disguised as Shaolin is True Darkness City cultivator, just beast tide attack. 2 people also just in the True Darkness City more than 5,000 miles in a secret place mine to collect some artifact T refinement use of Jing gold ore, also lucky escaped a robbery, later is in return to True Darkness City of the Way, curiosity close to the kind of trees, resulting in such serious injuries, and by the 3 of the Gujian cultivator rescued to this secret place. And when I talked about it, listening to shopkeeper Zhang and the plans of this batch of cultivator, I was prepared to hide in this secret place for a long time, because they felt that they might hide in this secret place for 10 days and a half. It is very likely that there will be great treasure. The batch cultivator is here. In their imagination, even if beast tide swept the great treasure half of the heavenly profound continent northern part, it would certainly be suppressed, because this kind of beast tide also means amazing resources for the cultivator, the entire heavenly profound continent. The Zongmen, many rogue cultivators, are sure to have many cultivators coming. Fellow Daoist, since the monster beast in True Darkness City has been cleaned up by fellow Daoist, you should have collected a lot of monster core on the fellow Daoist. The monster core of the water attribute monster beast has some secret places. I don't know if fellow Daoist can take some water attribute monster beast's monster core and change it. Spiritual stones, Dan Yao, or shapeshift great art can be used for the next time. For Wei Suo, who knows the life essence of Heaven's Dome, he knows that lust is probably not as smooth as planned by shopkeeper Zhang and others, but there is not much Wei Suo to hear this plan from shopkeeper Zhang and others. What to say, after all, for him, it is most important to recover as soon as possible and to upgrade your cultivation base. Although his water emperor son swallowing secrets is extremely amazing, he doesn't know how much spiritual chi is needed to upgrade a layer of cultivation base above golden core. In addition, he himself has the culture heavenly dragon star body tempering technique. The golden core does not know how many times the great treasure is compared to the general cultivator. Therefore, the promotion of the rank 1 cultivation base requires that the spiritual chi is more general than the golden core cultivator. Times. What's more, Wei Suo is already the cultivation base of the golden core 4th layer. To break through the cultivation base of the golden core 5th layer, the amount of spiritual chi required will be a very terrifying quantity. A level 9 top rank, the monster core of ancient heavenly dragon, do not know how many levels of 5 more water attribute monster beasts monster core sum. And when Wei Suo was promoted from the golden core 3rd layer to the cultivation base of the golden core 4th layer, it has consumed several heavenly dragon skeletons and several water attribute heavenly dragon monster cores. Next, if the golden core 4th layer breaks through to the golden core 5th layer, the amount of spiritual chi required is more than double. Ordinary water attribute monster core, I don't know how many tens of thousands of them are enough. The water attribute monster core above the level 5 mid-level is very rare, except that it is surrounded by Sea Immortal City and the water attribute monster beast. The monster beast monster core above mid-level, all of which are scraped up, and dozens. If you want to hunt yourself, the monster beast above the level 5 mid-level is also very difficult to find. Maybe one day, you may not be able to find a few heads, which is slower than buying and scraping. But now this kind of beast tide, the monster treasure of great treasure, is also an excellent opportunity for Wei Suo. In fact, this kind of beast tide is a great treasure for every cultivator. It can get dozens or even hundreds of times more resources than usual, just to see this kind of lust. Does the cultivator have enough life treasure to survive? Water attribute monster beasts monster core? There should be some, but the number is certainly not much. We just picked up some of the materials we needed, and we didn't collect the monster core and materials on most monster beasts. After hearing Wei Suo's question, shopkeeper Zhang and others looked at each other and immediately replied. The monster beast that piled up in the valley behind the True Darkness City, most of the great treasure did not collect material from the body. Wei Suo is a little surprised, can't understand, because for all cultivators, it should be something that is worth only the value of spiritual stones. In particular, these cultivators simply don't know that Heaven's Dome is likely to continue to crack. It is reasonable to say that valuable things must be collected. Even if you don't use secret place, you should keep it for sale. Even Wei Suo, before the injury, no shapeshift great art received the monster beast corpse. Now his injury has recovered G storage bracelet and ancient storage ring, and then see the monster beast corpse, he must be collected until it can't fit. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 658. Chapter 658 Golden Core Reunion. Our treasure receiving pocket is not enough, no shapeshift great art can hold too much, shopkeeper Zhang explained. Is there a lot of cultivator treasure receiving pocket in True Darkness City? Wei Suo knows that True Darkness City is a great treasure city of this size. Even with the cultivator of Han Tianmo, it may not be organized in a moment. Therefore, the beast net 1 yuan, each fighting and seeing it cannot resist, cultivator must be already scattered. The great treasure most cultivators may have fallen on the way to escape, and have not fallen around True Darkness City. However, the city of such hundreds of thousands of cultivators, even if one of the second and third of the cultivators fell into the urban area, there are thousands, and it is reasonable to say that the treasure receiving pocket should also be a lot. But what made Wei Suo immediately a slight glimpse was that Dao companion of the female cultivator Xia Yubing, the black and white giant treasure of the Iron Tower, directly handed several treasure receiving pockets to him. These treasure receiving pockets are very broken and there is nothing in them. We have collected some ordinary shapeshift great art devices. We have found a lot of treasure receiving pockets, but almost all of the treasure receiving pockets found are so damaged. The great treasure of the Black Han Du Wei looked at Wei Suo and explained, and Danyao and spiritual stones, we are also very few. Danyao and spiritual stones are rare. Shopkeeper Qian and the whole shopkeeper couldn't help but look at each other. The beast tide's monster beast is extremely diverse. Dan Yao is refining with various spiritual Yao. Some monster beasts are going to be swallowed. It is understandable, but there is not much left in the spiritual stones. This allows us to some can't figure it out. Shopkeeper Zhang said something helpless. It's spirit devouring beast. It seems that there is also spirit devouring beast to True Darkness City. Wei Suo vision flickered for a moment, said. Spirit devouring beast, what is the monster beast? Except for Wei Suo, all the people present have never heard of such a monster beast, and they can't help but ask for surging sound. Spirit devouring beast is a monster beast that can enrich the strength of the cultivator fleshly body, spiritual stones, and even the golden core great treasure cultivator. Wei Suo explained the spirit devouring beast carefully and without delay. There is such a monster beast. That kind of monster beast has swallowed up many cultivator blood row and spiritual stones. To what extent? When we heard Wei Suo say what kind of monster beast is in the spirit devouring beast, all the cultivators present are face se because spirit devouring beast is all level 7 low grade. How many cultivator blood row and spiritual stones can be swallowed by a city? How much does the strength of this spirit devouring beast increase as it passes through a city? This is the water attribute monster core on hand. The great treasure family is so easy to escape. It is a fate. Fellow Daoist G doesn't have to take anything out to change it. The tower like black great treasure Han Du Wei and others took out more than a dozen monster cores with water spirit chi and handed them to Wei Suo's. The cultivation base of the Du Wei Thought Division first layer is already among the surviving cultivators. The cultivation base is the highest, and although he looks old-fashioned and unsmiling, it is the standard from the current discourse and actions. The face is cold and hot, and Wei Suo has a lot of good feelings. We have all got a lot of monster core. As long as we can get out of danger, the harvest is unprecedented for us. These water attribute monster core, I am still very interested in. Fellow Daoist to use things to change. Shopkeeper Zhang and others also gave their own water attribute monster core to Wei Suo. The water attribute monster core with more than 5 levels added more than 20. If fellow Daoist G has an empty treasure receiving pocket on your body, you can go to the rear of the mountain valley to load something. Otherwise, if there is a great treasure batch cultivator, those things definitely do not belong to us. Now I want to install as much as I want, as long as I don't want to encounter any monster beast. Shopkeeper Zhang said this again. Old hole, my golden spirit bee treasure will die in a day or two, or take my golden spirit bee still. We go to the valley after the city. Shopkeeper Qian heard Shopkeeper Zhang say so, and suddenly felt a little hard. Fellow Daoist G, what do you mean? The whole dispenser looked at Wei Suo and he was obviously very excited. You go, I have to try my best to heal. Wei Suo smiled a little. At this moment, he has already felt that the closed niches in his naked body are about to open. In the case of his uncultivated base, it is safer not to go out. Wait until the cultivation base is restored, and then collect the monster beast. Anyway, the number of monster beasts that have been cleared out of the entire city is definitely amazing, and Shopkeeper Qian and others are certainly not likely to be finished. Fellow Daoist G is also hurt. Shopkeeper Zhang and others looked at Wei Suo with some surprises, because from the outside, Wei Suo showed no signs of injury. Fellow Daoist G was attacked by a wild beast, and the guild was damaged. When we were in him, he didn't move. Shapeshift great art. Shopkeeper Qian explained. Inside injury? I have a condensate 1 Udan, do not know if there is a secret place for fellow Daoist G? When I heard Shopkeeper Qian say, she looked at Wei Suo and asked Wei Suo. Because Wei Suo used the blood crystal stone to treat Yang Feng at the beginning, Xia Yubing and others also like Wei Suo. Thank you for the summer of the yellow Daoist, but you don't need it. If you are conditioned for 2 days, you should be able to recover 7 or 8. Wei Suo knows that Yuning 1 Yudan is a danyao that is used to promote the internal sputum. It is really useful for the Gillen injury of the general cultivator, but his vitality is very strong. Great treasure, This Danyao for him there is no secret place, so he still refused the good intentions of Xia Yubing at the moment. Since fellow Daoist's injury is no longer a great treasure, it's best. Xia Yubing glanced at Wei Suo, and his eyes flashed a glimpse of the unseen suspicion of Huo. Because Wei Suo is obviously a cultivator of heavenly circuit realm first layer, but Wei Suo's temperament makes her feel that it is not comparable to the ordinary heavenly circuit realm cultivator, and Wei Suo's skin seems to flash a layer from time to time. The silver se shines and looks very extraordinary. It's just that the group is just meeting each other. She is naturally embarrassed to ask Wei Suo some questions about the Siren's secret place. In this case, then fellow Daoist G, you will be healed in the secret place first, and I and the whole shopkeeper go to the valley after the city. If you see the water attribute monster core, we will try to bring some to fellow Daoist G. I will help you lead the way. People go together, multiple care, and safer. Then, after a few more words, shopkeeper Zhang and others went out to the valley with shopkeeper Qian and others. Among the whole turtle shells, Zhou Yuge, Xia Yubing, Du Wei, and Yang Feng and Xiao Lin were left, and they became quiet. Wei Suo sits in the corner of the porphyry treasure turtle shell, and does not say anything, just closed eyes feel the lust shape inside his naked body. Hidden dragon bead spitting secrets. This Dao technique shapeshift great art is very strange. I don't know the cultivator that created the Dao technique shapeshift great art. It was created to completely hide my cultivation base. This Dao technique shapeshift great art was created. Or just want to be able to gather a whole body cultivation base. During the time when I used hidden dragon bead spitting secrets to reach this true darkness city, even if Wei Suo's own inner vision, I couldn't feel that I was a golden core great treasure cultivator. His golden core is Dang, but when it breaks through the golden core cultivation base, the remaining positions are only the remaining 6 places to store true Yuan, and the rest are closed. Wei Suo can be sure that during this time, even if the cultivation base then their own higher great treasure cultivator, or a determining technique T-art, even with true Yuan through naked body search, also does not present their true cultivation base, will only feel that is 6 divine C, heavenly circuit the first layer of C cultivation base, the most is some have true Yuan naked body probe secret place operation cultivator, can by virtue of the flow of true Yuan feel his naked body meridian. Then the general C cultivator to be wide and strong many times, it is likely to mistakenly think he is the kind of repair ancient body refinement technique, but true Yuan cultivation base is not high. Now, Wei Suo feels that his cultivation base is about to recover. He is now underneath inner vision and feels some changes in his naked body. It is also extremely mysterious. At the moment, the 6 divine C-like squats in his naked body have begun to shrink slowly, but the true Yuan stored in it automatically flows toward those closed tens of thousands of squats, and then those closed the bit is like a seed bud, a little bit open. Pu. This process of great treasure about a stick of incense time, Wei Suo's naked body shocked, the whole body g up a gust of wind, all the closed niches in his naked body, and opened at the same time. Fellow Daoist G, are you okay? The Du Wei and Xia Yubing among the turtle shells were slightly stunned, but they immediately could not endure a surging sound with a surging sound. Because of this abnormality in Wei Suo feels like a deflated ball, and both spiritual Qi and true Yuan seem to be exhausted quickly, which is a quick reminder. The feeling of the oil is dry. It's okay, it's just that true Yuan's losses are too intense. Wei Suo's eyes flickered for a moment, it seems to flash a little surprised God, but his face se is nothing to change the great treasure. After saying this, he quickly took out a few danyao that supplemented true Yuan and swallowed it. Only Wei Suo knows what is going on at this moment. After opening more than 10,000 of these closed positions in his naked body, he changed the water emperor sun swallowing secrets and formed the secret place of the golden core's heart artery's secret place, but it seems to have become a whirlpool, constantly sucking true Yuan from the secret place of his naked body. A stock of origin chi seems to suddenly generate around his life, Shapeshift great art great treasure heaven overflowing river scroll keeps spinning, it feels very clear, it seems that as long as there is enough true yuan to integrate this share of origin chi his golden core will be regenerated. Fortunately, true yuan in his naked body is not abundant at this moment, and the flow of the sucking in is not terrifying, otherwise it is likely to cause some injuries in his naked body to crack. Now there is a wonderful tree fragment in Wei Suo's naked body. The continuous generation of spiritual qi can quickly supplement the precious treasure amount true yuan. At this moment, he swallows a few ordinary danyao supplementing true yuan, which is also a little quick supplement. Some of the sudden losses in the naked body at the moment. And this hidden dragon bead spitting secrets very abstruse, it seems that after the more than 10 days of time, itself has been in the Wei Suo's naked body has been brewing a reunion golden core needs of many origin chi, or to display this tactic, just Wei Suo naked the body of true yuan all g empty out, golden core of the jing, but itself is all left in the presence of the body, just transformed the form, into the way before the perception of various origin chi. That's it? It was faster than Wei Suo imagined, but only half an hour later, his heart artery's secret place was so fierce, countless origin chi instantly contracted, and his life, shapeshift great art great treasure again gathered together. Among the inner vision, a wheel-like great treasure Xiao's Pangret treasure golden core shines in the niche, with Supreme's rays shining. His golden core finally reunited and restored the cultivation base of the golden core fourth layer great treasure cultivator. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Zy. Chapter 659. Chapter 659 Proud Teenager. It seems that it doesn't take 2 days. Just go through a day and a half time, you can recover 7,788. You can use true yuan with culture and great treasure. Wei Suo's golden core first layer new condense, along with core chi, reveals from the golden core, moisturizing his fleshly body. Although his fleshly body damage at this moment is serious, like a desert water absorption, it is still very dry, there is no spiritual chi outside, there is no change, but inside he is already clearly felt, with this golden core chi's backfeeding moisturizing, the recovery of damage in his naked body, is a little faster. Fellow Daoist G, do you have a cultured quenched naked body? Wei Suo golden core reunited, although the appearance is not obvious, but now Xia Yubing and others are suddenly aware that Wei Suo's breath is very mysterious, but it is completely invisible. And Wei Suo's body shocked, the skin of the body also flashed a lot of silver se divine splendor, plus Wei Suo regathered golden core, the eyes have been opened, it seems that the treatment of erode, this makes Xia Yubing really couldn't help but ask this. Yes, in the next is a man quenched naked body Wei Suo nodded at the same time, and the corner of his mouth could not help but show a smile. Because I couldn't help but see Xia Yubing, he couldn't help but think of Han Weiwei. Han Weiwei's curiosity, but it is also so heavy, she must not help but ask this kind of lust. Shopkeeper Zhang, why are they not coming back? Xia Yubing's eyes boiled a bit, obviously it was still very curious in the heart, could not help but still want to ask more, but saw Wei Suo so simple to answer a sentence, it seems that I do not want to say more, she is embarrassed to ask, so after opening his mouth, he said something like nothing. Now this kind of lust, we go out, it must be careful. The wings are in the ruins. It is impossible for the great treasure to shake the great treasure. It will take at least 1 hour to go. They naturally cannot come back so soon. The great treasure of the black treasure, Du Wei, is obviously very familiar with Xia Yubing. While saying this sentence, it seems that the old-fashioned face also shows a gentle smile. I don't know how they are doing now, seeing Du Wei's old-fashioned cultivator, looking at his own Dao companion unconsciously, such a god, Wei Suo unconsciously thought of Ji Ya and others. I don't know if the old man knows about the 3 kinds of trees. After a little yin, Wei Suo gave birth to the secret place, and took out the ghost-raising jar nearby, let green-robed old man see the thoughts of the 3 strange trees. Because anyway, now he is also without shapeshift great art great treasure, using true Yuanji heaven overflowing river scroll cultivation, just waiting for the injury in the naked body to recover slowly. Within this a day and a half, he is basically everything. Can't do it, come out of this secret place, as long as you stay nearby. If you don't run, you can have mind-devouring bug around, there is no danger. Hey, oh, oh. What is this surging sound? However, between Weisuo vision flickered, before they stood up, they heard a strange screaming surging sound in the sky of the distant secret place. It's the surging sound of monster beast. Du Wei also changed his face at the same time and uttered a surging sound. What monster beast? It seems like the number is more than one. Xia Yubing's god Se also suddenly became very tense, because the screaming surging sound is getting closer and closer, and it seems to be coming soon over True Darkness City. It shouldn't be a powerful high-level monster beast. If it is a monster beast above level 6, shopkeeper Qian's golden spirit bee must have already sent him a message. They will definitely set up shapeshift great art to send us messages. Weisuo does not move the sound of surging sound Se. Do we want to go out and see? Hearing Weisuo, Xia Yubing's face was slow, and he looked at Du Wei and Zhou Yuge. Shopkeeper Zhang, so many people, since it is impossible to be a monster beast above level 6, they should not have any problems. We still stayed here, and the province got to be the monsters. Now, if you don't have a great treasure, if you attract other monster beasts, it will be more troublesome. After Du Wei eyes flash, I said calmly. These monster beasts seem to be close to us. The screaming surging sound constantly seems to hover in the 4 secret places in True Darkness City, looking for a foothold, but after a while, the surging sound is getting closer and closer to their hidden secret place, and Xia Yubing's face becomes the more nervous you are. Brother, this has a tortoise shell turtle. So complete. At least it can be used to refine a shapeshift great art shield above spirit rank middle grade. It seems that there have been other cultivators searched, and actually turned so long, only to see this tortoise shell. Since so many monster beast bodies have been taken away, how can there be such a good material for artifact refinement? And the fire attribute tortoise of such a great treasure is very simple to refine. The ordinary artificer it can be made into a shapeshift great art shield, a great treasure home. Be careful, maybe something weird. But after a while, in addition to the sly strange surging sound, it was passed down the faint Jiao talk about surging sound. Is it a cultivator? Xia Yubing and Du Wei and others were shocked by the naked body, and the eyes flashed an incredible god. Even Weisuo was full of surprises. Because his divine consciousness was released, he only felt that there were more than a dozen naked beasts of the naked body type, but he did not feel the cultivator. At this time, I heard such a surging sound. Under the sweep of divine consciousness, I realized that these giant birds have been parked above them. These giant birds seem to have a strange atmosphere on their backs. Or great treasure or xiao, it seems that there is a unique hidden atmosphere. Go, let's go out and see where fellow deist is under this kind of lust. When you encounter a cultivator, Yuhuo itself is hard to resist, and with the surging sound of the other party at this moment, it is sure to check the secret place of their hiding place. So facing Weisuo after waiting for a nod, Du Wei swept out to the outside, but at the same time a surging sound whispered, "Where is the fellow deist coming? There are cultivators." The surging sound of the other party was uploaded, and it was obviously a surprise. Weisuo made an eye to Xiaolin, letting him continue to take care of Yang Feng who could not get up, and then followed. As soon as he swept out, he saw a giant great treasure bird with 12 green SES in the sky above. These 12 giant great treasures of the green SE birds are not double-winged, but the naked body also has about 2 feet square. The appearance is very similar to the ordinary goshawk, but the neck is extraordinarily long, and the forward, and the green sea mao is like a cast iron, and a pair of eyes are scattered with yellow and fierce light, which looks very ferocious. On the back of 12 such green southeast giant birds, Jing Gold and Pilo are used to fix a green stone platform with railings. The platform is either sitting or standing, and there is a cultivator. The blue light of the circle forms a reticle that covers the cultivator. Fengxian Green Eagle, are you the cultivator of Eastern Desolate Sect? As soon as I saw this blue seed bird, under the Du-Wei eyes flash that was first swept out, it immediately came out with such a surging sound. Eastern Desolate Sect, in the heart of Weisuo, he knows that Eastern Desolate Sect is a manor in the East End City, and that the East Desert City is on the west side of the Netherworld City where the Netherworld Palace is located. It is a city in the Netherworld City landscape. The size of Eastern Desolate Sect is not considered a great treasure. It is said that there are 2 golden core cultivators. Other Weisuo didn't know anything about it. I don't think that True Darkness City actually survived the cultivator. The top 12 green SE giant birds first had a surging sound such as surging sound, and the 12 green SE giant birds slowly landed. I saw the head of a 12-year-old green giant. The naked body type is the most expensive, and it looks obviously the oldest, but there is no old smell. The monster chi is the strongest and obviously the strongest. On the top of the green stone platform above the green SE giant bird, a young man looking 27 years old, wearing a white shapeshift great art dress with a strange face lust on his face, looks handsome. The eyes are bright and extremely bright, and it is called Feng Shen. The green SE giant bird landed down, but it was close to sea. The mouth of this giant bird is very rigid, like a piece of scale. For the young man on the left is a 16-year-old boy, a young shapeshift great art clothing, British style by people, face is also very handsome, but there is a faint arrogant god se, seems to look at Weisuo and others are very disdainful. On the right side of the young man is a male cultivator in her 30s, wearing a flaming shapeshift great art blouse, with flames jumping from time to time. The remaining 9 cultivators behind the 3 men also looked extraordinary. The shapeshift great art clothing and some accessories were also spirit light flashing, and the body was obviously higher than Du-Wei, obviously at least the thought division realm 2nd layer. The cultivator. And these cultivators are very different from Du-Wei, the whole shopkeeper, etc., and they don't see the feeling of special helplessness and panic on their faces, but they are all slightly cautious, giving people a kind of seemingly hunting monsters feel. These cultivators landed, invisibly giving the pressure of Du-Wei and Xia Yubing and others a great treasure. It is a bit of a vision to recognize our Fengxian Green Eagle for the 278-year-old, wearing a white shapeshift great art clothes young man, a glimpse of Xia Yubing. It seems also did not expect the secret place female cultivator. The eye flashed a hint of the god se, mouth a hint of a smile. The young man did not ask Weisuo and other people's identity, but asked, "It seems the secret place is your hiding place, that's True Darkness monster beast and culti in city vatter body left things. Are you take away? There are some things left in the cultivator in the city. We have put away it, but the body of the monster beast in the city has been cleaned up into the valley behind the city." Du-Wei's brow jumped, and there was some ominous feeling in his heart. Are you fellow deist coming from the East Desert City? Is this beast tide already curbed? Immediately, Du-Wei asked immediately. Senior brother, don't take time wearing a white shapeshift great art suit. The young man of Fengshen Ryu has not spoken yet. The 16-year-old, childish boy next to him is frowning and looks impatiently at Wei Suo and Du-Wei, etc. You should first put the treasure receiving pocket on your body and say it. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 660. Chapter 660 is not how to intercourse. Jia out of treasure receiving pocket. Du-Wei and others' faces are instantly difficult to look at, and they have just made them feel bad from these people. Bubble asterisk, at the moment, the 16-year-old boy said that his heart sank to the bottom. These Eastern Desolate Sect cultivators obviously don't want to help them at all, but instead directly rob them of things. They naturally don't want the treasure-receiving pocket on Jiao origin, but these cultivators riding the Phoenix Eagle, in addition to the 16-year-old Xingyi teenager, the cultivation base has the lowest thought division realm second layer. On their side cultivation base is above the highest Du Wei. The 16-year-old Xingyi teenager, rooted in the rhyme, even has the cultivation base of the thought division first layer, and the body of Dang holding a wooden spiritual qi interest, is obviously also a talented wood spiritual root genius cultivator. Teacher, don't worry, let me ask first. The 16-year-old green shirt boy is impatient with the Duosuo and the Suosuo receiving pocket on the Jiao origin of Wei Suo and others. The young man wearing the Moon White's shapeshift great art clothing is the young man. With a slight smile, I asked Du Wei, how many surviving cultivators do you have? Du Wei blinked and didn't answer immediately. His mind was calculating. If shopkeeper Zhang and shopkeeper Qian all came back together, could they deal with the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator? Because of the Eastern cultivator of Eastern Desolate Sect, it doesn't hide anything at all, just want to ask clearly. Not yet answered. Why, when my brother is a fart. On the Phoenix Green Eagle, the 16-year-old green shirt teenager saw Du Wei and others did not answer for a moment, and suddenly it was a fierce flash in the eyes, and a surging sound sternly shouted. This young boy is still young, his appearance is not childish, but his heart seems to be very ruthless, and he does not put Du Wei and others in his eyes. He feels that Du Wei and Wei Suo are inferior. Is this cultivator of Eastern Desolate Sect so arrogant? This guy is so young, but people are so embarrassed. Wei Suo stood behind Du Wei and looked at the imposing Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator without disturbing the sound se. Now he has no shapeshift great art great treasure to use true Yuan. If he is forced to apply shapeshift great art or is hit by the opponent's shapeshift great art, it will affect the injury and delay his divine ability. However, the young man in the cultivation base wearing the Moon White's shapeshift great art clothing, and the male cultivator wearing the Flaming's shapeshift great art clothing around him, are also the cultivation base of the thought division realm 5th layer. There is no golden core great treasure cultivator in people. And this Phoenix Green Eagle looks fierce, but it is just the level 4 high level monster beast, mind devouring bug should be able to control. Mind devouring bug as long as you control 5 of them, attack other peak scale eagle, and then sneak attack, you should be able to deal with this Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator. Just mind devouring bug controls the monster beast. Within a certain distance, if the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator landed near the ground, the more convenient and ensured the mind devouring bug would be. Fellow deist, Eastern Desolate Sect is also known as the Men Great Treasure. In this kind of beast tide, it should help to survive the cultivator. Why do you have to deal with me? Du Wei looked at the astounding Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator. Even if the beast tide has been suppressed, at least the secret place is within tens of thousands of miles, or the monster beast control. The secret place is the monster beast. Are you really? Can do it without a trace. True, the seemingly weak Xia Yubing also took a step forward and stood side by side with Du Wei. Your Eastern Desolate Sect is not Netherworld Palace and Northern Bright Section in the Heavenly Profound Continent northern part, I am afraid I can't do it. Northern Bright Sect and Netherworld Palace, wearing a white's shapeshift great art clothing, the young man's face like a U is a very worthy god lust. Is neither Northern Bright Sect nor Netherworld Palace ruined in this beast tide? The Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator, which is called the god lust, makes Wei Suo's brow jump. Netherworld Palace has a number of divine abilities. Amazing great treasure cultivator. Just look at the strength of Li Ziai and you will know what Netherworld Palace has. And Northern Bright Sect is the top 10 great treasure of Heavenly Profound Continent. It is said that the strength is even above Mystic Wind Sect, and there is the existence of Divine Mystic Realm great treasure cultivator. If Netherworld Palace and Northern Bright Sect are all destroyed, it is really shocking. You need to know that the Divine Mystic Realm cultivator is a great treasure in the world of cultivation. You don't even know what kind of lust shape this true darkness city is at the moment. Wearing the moon white's shapeshift great art clothes young man is not pay attention to Wei Suo, just glanced at Du Wei and Xia Yubing, leisurely way. Anyway, I do not want to talk with you much nonsense. I can tell you, this a dozen Wanli region within, monster beast, you and us against the enemy, even if there are individual slip-through can escape, it is absolutely impossible not to fall. You are now obediently listening to us, and I can still give you a way to live. Amount of monsters in the Tenwanli region. Hearing this young man's words, Wei Suo couldn't help but take a deep breath. He is very clear that the distance between Netherworld City and True Darkness City is less than 100,000 miles. If we are treasure receiving pocket on Jiao origin, are you leaving? Du Wei's face changed after a few changes, looking at the young man wearing a white shapeshift great art clothing, said such a sentence. Apparently after weighing the balance, he has already had the helpless compromise of shapeshift great art. So much nonsense. 16 The 7-year-old youth in the green shirt has lost her patience and sneered. My brother just said that you will spare your life and say that we will leave immediately. Please take all the treasure receiving pocket on the origin and listen to it, otherwise we will immediately shoot and kill you all. The young man in the green shirt has been robbed several times, but the young man wearing the white's shapeshift great art clothing has no lust shape. It is obvious that the young boy is young, but his status is not wearing moon white's shapeshift great art under the young man. Let us Jiao origin all the treasure receiving pocket, listen to it, let us know enough divine ability. I heard that the young man in the green shirt said that Zhou Yuge wearing the bronze shapeshift great art clothing also said that he couldn't help but anger. Very good, if you disagree, then I will teach you alone. 16 The 7-year-old Qing shirt teenager sneered a surging sound, and the phoenix green eagle carried him slowly. Send the men to come. Wei Suo did not move surging sound se, but my heart was happy. The green shirt boy landed, and the rest of the eastern desolate sect cultivator fell. The phoenix green eagle fell directly on the ground, and as long as Wei Suo is happy, his mind-devouring bug can be sneaked at any time. Come, if you can beat me, I might make you leave. The young man in the green shirt stood directly on the platform on the back of the phoenix green eagle, and looked at Zhou Yuge with great pride. If that's the case, then it's offended. Zhou Yuge is not too much for the people who are so stunned. In the eyes of the man, the bronze se sword on his back is turned into a long one with his fingers. The bronze se shocked the rainbow, and under the flash of the air, one became 5 again. 5 bronzes and so on, all of them have a violent smashing surging sound. From different directions, they are going to the young green shirts. They don't see which bronze cc is really flying sword. This is the dry bronze sword of the Lushan people. It also has the powerful energy of spirit rank high grade. It seems that you have also smashed a lot of things in this beast tide. But what do you think is the one that comes from your hand, is my opponent? Faced with 5 imposing bronzes, the stunned blue-shirt teenager, surging sound, a blue light suddenly emerged from his hands. Then his hand was just a stroke, and this blue light was surrounded by a fascinating degree, and the 5 bronzes were shocked. Just listen to a surging sound of pa, 4 of them are only distorted, and disappeared invisible, while the remaining real Cephaling sword is under the blue light. It turned out to be a direct interception. Pa. Almost at the same time, a blue Seguang brilliance from the green shirt juvenile player came to Zhou Yuge and slammed into a golden square shapeshift great art shield from Zhou Yuge. Under the shock of the golden square shapeshift great art, there was no break, but it was hit by Zhou Yuge. Zhou Yuge couldn't control his body shape immediately, and he flew back 5 or 6 feet and fell to the ground. Dao rank shapeshift great art great treasure. Zhou Yuge fell to the ground and immediately stood up, his mouth licking a trace of blood, his eyes were very blank. Du Wei and Xia Yubing are both very ugly and have a surging sound. The two have already seen at the moment that the blue Se Guanghua and the Qing Se Guanghua are the shapeshift great art great treasures of the King's teenagers. The blue SE brilliance is okay, almost the powerful energy of spirit rank high grade, but the blue light turned out to be a piece of spirit rank high grade's flying sword. The powerful energy is far beyond Deo rank high grade. It is a shapeshift grade of Deo rank middle grade. Art great treasure. How, you now know what kind of divine ability we have after the blue Se Guanghua and Qing Se Guanghua hit it. It was suspended in front of the green shirt boy. The blue Se Guanghua is a blue Sejingjing golden Xiaozu, the pigeon-like great treasure Xiao, and there is a ruin-like rune on the surface. Qing Se Guanghua is a thin, like a crescent moon, the naked body is crystal clear, cannot see any rune, but the blue separate light shines. It is not unusual at first glance. In the sneer surging sound, the boy in the green shirt reached out a little, the blue Sejing gold Xiaozu and the blue Se machete were placed on the Guanghua great treasure, and it was directed at Zhou Yuge. You said that you are going to go out directly to treasure receiving pocket waiting for it, or will I kill you now? You can kill you kill me. Zhou Yuge chi and blood surged, the face turned into Red Sea, a surging sound sternly shouted. I don't want it at this time. I heard him called surging sound, and Xia Yubing immediately gave a surging sound and exclaimed, we are willing to go out of treasure receiving pocket. Xia's huge face Se is more red, but also wants a surging sound. Court death, the youthful eyes of the green shirt suddenly picked up, and a murderous intention flashed in the eyes. Two shapeshift great art great treasures suddenly came out. Wait at this time, a surging sound suddenly called, I don't have treasure receiving pocket, then how Jiaoa? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 661. Chapter 661 is self-seeking. Shua. Everyone's eyes are gathered on Wei Suo's. Are you kidding? Childish, but very ruthless. The singer of the sneakers looked at the surging sound of Wei Suo. A murderous intention of Sensen was shrouded in Wei Suo's. There are people. At this time, the cultivator that took care of Yang Feng in the tortoise shell also heard the shapeshift great art surging sound. The batch of Eastern Desolate Sex cultivator was slightly moved, but it did not look at the face at all. It is also very shady. Xiaolin is a god who is alive and well, because he and Yang Feng are saved by Zhou Yuge and others. Now the lust shape is very bad, so he also bites his teeth and prepares to work hard. But Wei Suo, shrouded in thick murderous aura, is a very normal and serious look. Really don't have a treasure receiving pocket ND at this time. Wei Suo was still a serious one and said such a sentence. Lo Deus G, Ia Yubing and Du Wei face white more white, could not help but turn their heads to Wei Suo out a surging sound. Wei Suo did this and in their opinion it was simply looking for death. But I have an ancient storage ring, can't this go? The young man in the green shirt flashed in the eyes and was preparing to shoot, but Wei Suo suddenly said this. Ancient storage ring, his batch of Eastern Desolate Sex cultivator suddenly shines. Because Wei Suo said this, he extended his hand and held a spirit light flashing in his hand, a quaint ring. Jiao came over and saw the young man in the green shirt bowed and looked at the sincere Wei Suo, who felt that he had encountered a fool. Here Wei Suo directly reached out and threw the ring in his hand to the young boy. An ancient storage ring, he quaint ring that Wei Suo threw out was in his hand, just glanced at it. Divine consciousness explored it. The eyes of the young boy immediately flashed the surprise god Se, turning his head against the moon white's shapeshift great art. The young man made an Se. I have already got out of the ancient storage ring, how are you going to drop me? Wei Suo looked at the young boy with a face full of surprises and smug gods, asked. Look at the fact that you are so obedient, you just have to help us pick the fruit of a few fruit trees, and I will let you leave. The green shirt boy directly put the Wei Suo's ancient storage ring on his hand. After thinking about it, he clicked on a tree on the right side of the secret place and smiled. What? Xiaolin and Du Wei are all face a great treasure. This tree, which looks like a childish young boy, is the kind of tree that bears the red se fruit and lets Yang Feng cut off the blood row of the naked body of the half-body. You are too poisonous. He has already made such an ancient storage ring, and you have not let him go. You asked him to pick the fruit of this tree. Is he still alive? Ia Yubing was so angry that she was slightly shivering and looked at the green shirt. Oh, do you know that you know a little about this kind of tree? The young man in the green shirt still smiles and looks at Wei Suo with a playful look. But as soon as the action is faster, pick it up faster, and then quickly cut off a layer of blood row, it is possible to live. Down. Yo, Xia Yubing was too angry to speak. If a cultivator removes the blood row of the whole body, if there is no healing Yao above earth level top rank, it will definitely not survive, not to mention even if there is a top grade healing Yao, it is cruel to remove the blood row. However, the name of the Kingsaboy is casually spoken in this relaxed tone, which is really too vicious. Well, I have no patience. Let's help us pick the fruit of the tree. The green shirt boy simply ignored Xia Yubing and looked at Wei Suo with a cold eye. But I will kill you right away. How old are you? So guilty? At this time, Wei Suo looked at the young man in the green shirt and sighed. Originally, Wei Suo wanted to delay the time to see if he could be dragged back to shopkeeper Zhang and others, so that people who are more comfortable with this group are more confident, but the velvet mouth on the guy mouth is not exhausted. Actually, it turned out to be poisonous, which made Wei Suo have to be ready to do it right away. And the green shirt boy and the batch of Eastern Desolate Sex cultivators are all slightly different. Wei Suo seemed to be stupid before, but now his tone of voice and expression are completely different from before. It seems that there is a yin cloud scattered from Wei Suo's, like a giant great treasure monster. They are all covered in this group of people. It weird, this guy now looks like some great treasure character. The young man with a velvet mouth on his mouth has not completely escaped. He couldn't help but sneak a surging sound in his heart. His face is a cold. What are you? Do you dare to teach me? I don't have much knowledge, don't know what you are. Wei Suo faintly looked at the arrogant green shirt boy and asked. Tell you anyway, I am true disciple Fang Huayu of Eastern Desolate Sect Master. The young man in the green shirt said very proudly. A stern desolate sect is more great treasure than true martial sect. Ei Suo smiled and asked. Wei Suo. As soon as this was said, Xia Yubing and Du Wei also looked at him, and all eyes were full of suspicion. What do you mean? In the eyes of the youngsters, the murderous intention flashed, and the two pieces of shapeshift great art great treasure in front of them were like the two snakes, and they were always rushing to Wei Suo. Now everyone can see that Wei Suo is a bit wrong, because even a cultivator with a real problem knows that Eastern Desolate Sect is not the same as true martial section. In contrast, one is the firefly-like brilliance on the ground, while the other is the bright moon in the sky. It is a great treasure. Most cultivators must look up. I don't mean anything, just seeing that you are very talented. You are only a little bit of great treasure at a young age. If you kill you, you can't bear it, so I want to give you a chance. As long as you make a mistake to me, I can put you in a path. If you don't listen to me, if you want to kill me, I can only kill you. Ei Suo looked at the boy named Fang Huayu and said seriously. What, does he dare to say such a thing? What is his control? Ei Suo's words are exported. Du Wei and others all look at each other and their hearts are full of incredible feelings. This person's tone turned out to be such a great treasure. A batch of Eastern Desolate Sex cultivator was also a surprise to great treasure. I don't know what the status of this fellow deist is, for the god of the gods such as you, the white man's shapeshift great art clothing young man suddenly brows slightly wrinkled, grabbed the surging sound before Fang Huayu. You don't have to worry about my identity at all. Do I have a high status? You will not dare to provoke. If I am an ordinary person, can you bully at will? Ei Suo shook his head. I have given you such a choice now, and I said that I have the ability to kill you. It depends on whether you believe it or not and choose what to do. Too crazy. Chinese brother, this person must be the original non-mysterious. If the identity of the cultivator, how could have been hiding in this secret place, and these incompetent cultivator together? Earring Weisuo, the white-skinned shapeshift great art clothing behind a young man, a young cultivator wearing a dark green SE robes, a young cultivator, a great treasure, and a phoenix eagle under the body, also a low whistling, fierce. He can't be the cultivator of Mystic Wind sect and true martial section. What are we scruples about? Even if there is a powerful shapeshift great art great treasure, it is impossible to be an opponent of so many people. Cold-faced young cultivator in brass armor, sneer, looks like Weisuo as a dead person. Brother, don't bother with him, kill him. An Eastern Desolate sect cultivator shrouded in a thin yellow SE mist, crisp and cold surging sound said. The young man wearing the Moon White's shapeshift great art suit did not make a decision. Looking at Weisuo, his eyes flashed. What are you doing? What choice? Weisuo didn't seem to hear the surging sound of these Eastern Desolate sect cultivators at all, just calmly watching Fang Huayu, the weak-headed boy in front of him. When Weisuo's calm eyes were taken, this former fierce flame, and he said that he would remove the bloodsucker and want to scare me. Between the eyes flash, the teenager who has not yet exhausted the Mao is actually taking a step, arrogant, sister, even if this person has any great treasure background, under this lust shape, we kill it, and it will not be known. Even the cultivators of the rest of the great treasures, even if they can sense his fall, in this lust shape, before the great treasure cultivator of their squad, we have already left, and this person, maybe there are a lot of great treasures. /P. The young man wearing the Moon White's shapeshift great art clothing doesn't talk. It is obvious that he has agreed to Fang Huayu's shapeshift great art. Weisuo shook his head and sighed. He didn't have any pretentious work at this time, not pretending. Because no one knows, his mind-devouring bug is already behind Fang Huayu, and he can jump to the top of Fang Huayu. It like Fang Huayu head is already hanging a butcher knife. As long as Weisuo is in between, he can fall, but he doesn't know. Fang Huayu is a whole head lower than him. He hasn't opened it yet. In front of him, he is still a Xiao child. Such a little treasure age, such a talent and cultivation base, is not easy, so Weisuo also wants to give him a chance. However, in the case of a butcher's knife already hanging over his head, his dying in the head is really making Weisuo feel sad and ridiculous. Go to death, Fang Huayu, a surging sound sternly shouted, reach for a stroke. Weisuo didn't have any action, just looked at Fang Huayu. Pu. However, Fang Huayu's two spirit light great flash in front of the spirit light has not yet been released, his naked body is shocked, and a blood light emerges from the top of his head. All the people only saw that his face just appeared to have a hint of fear and regret, and the vitality of his body has been completely cut off. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 662. Chapter 662. What is it about me? There was no sign, there was no trace of any shots. Weisuo just looked at Fang Huayu, and Fang Huayu had a bunch of blood light on his head, and his life was completely cut off. Fang Shidi. The breath of this batch of cultivators has been paused. This kind of scene makes them seem to be squirting in the pores of the mouth. But at the same time, a circle is faintly visible, and the transparent light pattern like KO has already hit the Eastern Desolate sect cultivator. This faintly visible transparent light pattern is centered on Weisuo, which is unimaginable at all, with terrifying extreme pressure. All the Eastern Desolate sect cultivators are all violently trembled in the naked body. At this time, the mind is blank and loses the ability to think. Chi. A surging sound burst, and several white swatter blade-like brilliance emerged from the top of Fang Huayu, where the blood light collapsed, on the cultivator wearing the red-red's shapeshift great art. The Eastern Desolate sect cultivator of the Thought Division 5th layer, which has just been violently shaken, is directly smashed by these white swatter blade-like splendid light. What the hell are you? After the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator wearing the Crimson's shapeshift great art suit was killed, the young man wearing the Moon White's shapeshift great art clothing just reacted, the spirit light shined, and a surging sound was shocked. Call. Divine consciousness is almost shaped. Divine consciousness pressure of such a great treasure, what is his cultivation base? Du Wei and Xia Yubing and others are almost blank. In the line of sight, the powerful cultivator of the thought division fifth layer is directly killed. The mind is just intuition, and this idea emerges. What happened? Wearing the Moon White's shapeshift great art clothing of the rich gods such as Yu's young man first reaction, body spirit light flashing, seems to have shapeshift great art great treasure and surgery shapeshift great art G came out, but at this time, his side 5 phoenix scale green eagle is crazy like a shaking, not only the body -5 Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator all thrown out, and at the same time, 5 green SE monster core are at the same time, the young man dressed in White's shapeshift great art dress was blown up. Pa. Ah. In the midst of a surging sound, the young man had no time to make any extra moves. The White's spirit light was just a flash, and it was beaten, and a surging sound screamed and was beaten far away. Go out, the body light collapses. Dear God! Is he a golden core great treasure cultivator? Until then, the rest of the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator recovered from the shock of the mind, and the brain had the ability to think. The former cold cultivator wearing a brass armor first screamed a surging sound. Improbable, he is sure that there is only the shapeshift great art that is affected by divine consciousness. Don't panic. He alone cannot be the opponent of so many of us. At the same time, an Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator with a yellow mist on his body also had a surging sound great treasure. The seemingly extraordinary Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator was initially crisp and said not to kill Wei Suo's cultivator directly with Wei Suo Wanang. Pu. A surging sound whispered, this cultivator, which was just called Great Treasure, immediately popped a blood light on his head, and his life was suddenly cut off. Ah! Seeing such a lust scene, the rest of the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator in Xuanhuan are all horrified and the cold Mao are all erected. Until then, Wei Suo was still standing still, without any action. It's some kind of invisible monster beast, an Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator responded, and the great treasure called. However, his great treasure was just out, and a phoenix green eagle next to him suddenly went crazy. The 2 claws were directly exposed to the neck, and the blood came out and instantly broke the breath. These phoenix green eagle are controlled by what he uses shapeshift great art, an Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator stunned the great treasure, the magnificent light flashes in his hand, and smashed a phoenix eagle under his seat. The blood in the neck of the phoenix green eagle is like a fountain. Ah! A bunch of blood light suddenly appeared on the sole of the foot of an Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator, and then his naked body jerked stiffly and slammed backwards. There are only 4 remaining Eastern Desolate Sect cultivators between the fingers. Ah! An Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator lost the fighting intent, directly applied the scorpion, and vacated, trying to escape. A phoenix green eagle vacated at the same time and stopped in front of him. A surging sound of the name of the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator, a purple-red SE light, directly smashed the phoenix green eagle into a bloody fog. But he seemed to feel something like it, and his eyes looked at him. But before he could make any movements, a surging sound of, he also had a blood light on his spirit, and the whole person suddenly lost his life and fell from the sky. What is this monster beast? Work with him. Only by killing him is it possible to have a way to live. The remaining 3 Eastern Desolate Sect cultivators saw this scene, and their hearts were incomprehensible. A glimmer of light came from them and hit Wei Suo. Wei Suo is not in a hurry, G has a White's a great treasure tower like shapeshift great art great treasure. His movements don't seem to be fast, but in fact they don't know how much faster than the three Eastern Desolate Sect cultivators. The brilliance of the three Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator G has not yet reached his body. In the flash of white light, Wei Suo's figure has disappeared in place, appearing on the other side 5 and 60 feet away. Pa! Another divine light screen outside the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator was suddenly shattered by several white swatter blade brilliance and something that couldn't be seen at all, forcibly crushed. Then the top of the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator there is also a bunch of blood light. Another genius is still alive, and the astounding Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator has fallen. His divine consciousness is too strong, great treasure, shapeshift great art is a little faster than us, and it's impossible to hurt him by casting shapeshift great art and shapeshift great art great treasure. Among the remaining two Eastern Desolate Sect cultivators, a white-faced cultivator with a black-red SE and a golden sunflower-like rune has a fierce bite. Under the black, red, and gold magnificent light flashes, it is also instantaneous. Behind Wei Suo's. Ah! At this moment, I saw the eyes of Xuanhuan, and even shocked, Xia Yubing and Du Wei, who did not get started, had a surging sound. I saw the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator's hand with a pair of silver SE claws, directly hit Wei Suo, 1 foot long, spirit light flashing, looks at least the spirit shift great art great treasure under the spirit rank. How? His naked body is even stronger than spirit rank's shapeshift great art great treasure. But let Xia Yubing and others exclaim the surging sound. Suddenly, Wei Suo is only a slight deflection of the naked body, so that the claws on the hands of the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator are tied to his shoulders. Kaka. In the cracking surging sound, this pair of silver SE claws are broken and can't be penetrated. At the same time, Wei Suo just pointed at a bullet and played the eyebrow of the cultivator. The naked body of the cultivator was shocked. The eyebrows seemed to have a circle of shocking dang, and the sunken down, while the back of the head was smashed and exploded. There is no violent spiritual chibo. Wei Suo didn't use any of the shapeshift great art at all, but it seemed to be just a fleshly body force, killing a cultivator. His table lust is still very calm, but between the fingers, the silver sedivine light flashes, with an unimaginable supreme power. How could there be such amazing power? His fleshly body, before it will hurt the shapeshift great art? What kind of monster beast did he encounter? What kind of cultivator is he in the end? The hearts of Du Wei and Xia Yubing are extremely shocking. Don't kill me, spare me a life. The rest of the previous one was also imposing, wearing a silver shapeshift great art suit, sparkling in silver, making the young Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator without shapeshift great art by, the cold sweat of the body rolling down, completely lost the fighting spirit, straight on the ground, out of the great treasure for mercy called surging sound. With a flash of white light, Wei Suo appeared directly in front of him, calmly watching the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator. Predecessors, spare me a life, you want me to do anything. This Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator has completely scared the courage, crouched on the ground, and pleaded. Bring him over. Wei Suo lightly pointed a bit to the next secret place. It may be that I have been encountering the success of true martial sect and mystic wind sect, and the other is divine ability, so he is also very careful against the enemy, for fear of the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator. There is also the amazing divine ability. But this time it was very easy to deal with the Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator, but it was a bit overestimating the opponent. He hasn't died yet. With Wei Suo, this time Xia Yubing and other talents are now wearing the White Singer's shapeshift great art clothing. The young cultivator is still not dead. There are several bowls of great treasure blood dong, it is painful yin, it looks I want to take Daniao from the treasure receiving pocket, but True Yuan doesn't have shapeshift great art, and I can't do it at all. The Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator, who was wearing a silver shapeshift great art, crouched on the ground, and he didn't dare to stop. He took the cultivator of several blood dongs and placed it on Wei Suo's. In front of him, he once again squatted in front of Wei Suo's. "What the hell are you?" the Eastern Desolate Sect young cultivator, which is called the Unwilling Look, asks for blood in his mouth. "Now this kind of lust shape, do you think it makes sense to ask me the name?" Wei Suo looked at the very miserable Eastern Desolate Sect cultivator and said calmly. "You at least let me die, otherwise I am going to die with the remaining grievance." The cultivator said stubbornly. "What do you have to die with the remaining grievance and me?" Wei Suo glanced at the cultivator and said such a sentence. "You," the cultivator was so angry that he had a naked body and vomited a blood. "No nonsense, obediently answer my questions, I may be able to let you live." Wei Suo didn't use it at all, faintly watching the former arrogant, but now it is like a dead dog cultivator. "Do fellow deist, trouble you to search for their treasure receiving pocket and all shape-shift great art." Then Wei Suo turned his head and said this to Du Wei and others. At the same time as he spoke, in addition to the five-headed phoenix eagle, the remaining phoenix eagle first swayed, and the blood light appeared on the back of the head man, and was killed one by one. This kind of invisible killer makes all people chill. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 663. Many monsters and beasts outside the Sky Dome are also weak meat and strong food. They will hunt each other, but since ancient times, when the beast tide broke out, all monster beasts seem to have complained to the Sky Dome and the monk. To a certain point, in the beast tide, even some naturally hostile monsters will not fight against each other, just kill the monk desperately. Clubbing. Especially the ancient monsters such as ancient giant claws can only grow up after tens of thousands of years, and the ancient atmosphere of their bodies is extremely terrifying. Moreover, this wild ancient giant claw has advanced more than once. Like a water dragon, it may exist for at least 20,000 or 30,000 years. The breath on his body is enough to deter all monsters below the 8th level. The Sky Laciao is just a monster of level 4. Compared with this kind of ancient monster, it is a real ant. Facing this kind of ancient monster, it is absolutely instinctively awe. If it is not in the tide of the beast, almost all monsters below the 8th level are afraid to be close to the thousands of miles of the ancient monsters. Not to mention, dare to launch an attack on this ancient monster. Crack. 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 The thunderballs from the five-headed thunder owl exploded one by one at the wound of the lower abdomen of the ancient giant claw. At this moment, the ancient giant claw didn't even think of it. At this moment, there would be something like the thunder owl, dare to attack it. Thunderballs triggered by monsters of this level, even if they directly hit their wounds, will not cause much damage to them. But in its eyes, it was a monster that was not even as good as ants. It dared to attack it, but it caused it to instantly fall into rage. Puff. I saw a huge blue light swept through, and the long tail of the barren giant claw swept away. Almost all the monsters such as Sky Thunder Owl, Bayan Dove, etc. within a radius of tens of feet were swept into their violent power. All the Thunder Owl, Bayan Dove, and other monsters that are close to this wild ancient beast all felt the anger of this wild ancient beast, they all screamed and frightened. Dare to stay within 1,000 feet of this ancient monster. Boom. The various brilliances inspired by Jia and Qi Longshan, etc., once again hit the body of this ancient giant claw. However, this ancient monster that has not known how many years it is like an incomparable fighting experience. It turned out that it adjusted its body obliquely downward. Jia and others tried their best to send a blow. Hitting it all on its back, it didn't hit its wounds at all, just hitting it down and sinking dozens of feet. How is it possible? Are these monsters crazy? How come there are monsters who dare to attack it? The barren ancient giant claws are fierce, and the huge demon spirit covers almost half of the city, but at this time, all the monks in the northern spirit city feel that it is incredible that in this case, there are 5 heads of thunder from the rear. Shot from below, spitting thunder towards the wound of this wild ancient monster from below. Not dead, the monk didn't die. How is it possible? The monk was shot by giant claws. Even if it is ordinary gold, it will be cracked. Is his physical body stronger than the magical carcass? But let the eyes of all Beilingcheng monks be fixed, and it seems that the whole time has completely stopped at this moment. In general, all monks saw that the silver light flashed all over the body, and Wei Suo, which fell like a stone, suddenly arrogant. Stretching out his hand, a golden and two-colored light blazed away from the front of him while sweeping the five-headed thunder owl into powder with an unstoppable tail of the ancient giant claw. Flying sword. He used a flying sword. Such a big flying sword, is he? Even if it's a flying sword, this means of controlling the flying sword, the response and speed are no less than that of this ancient giant claw, his mind, how amazing it will be. All the monks saw that the golden brilliance that Wei Suo sacrificed at the moment, when lasing to the lower abdomen of the ancient giant claw, was actually a circle, which was able to avoid the two ancient giant claws towards this path. The thick legs of the cyan giant pillar struck by the golden two-color flame severely cut from the cracked carapace into the abdomen of the ancient giant claw. Still not kill. The flesh of the ancient giant claw is too strong. Even the internal organs are as tough as fine gold. But all the monks saw that the golden brilliance inspired by Wei Suo was chopped in the flesh and blood of the ancient giant claw, but only entered less than 1/3, it was already embedded in the flesh and blood, and could not be cut at all. 2. At the same time, the ancient giant claw once again gave a roar, even though this golden yellow brilliance did not seem to cause any major damage to it. The entire huge figure suppressed the air and issued after a loud bang. He rolled towards Waisaw below. Waisaw. Seeing this kind of scene, both Shui Linger and Jiya's face were completely pale, and the two golden dans were lasing directly towards the wild ancient giant claws. Pattern. They are also very clear that although Wei Suo's flesh is extremely powerful, the power of the ancient giant claw's blow is amazing. Even if there is already the blockage of Xuanhuan's Karma Red Lotus, under this blow, the current Weso must have been hit hard. And even if Wei Suo did not have the slightest damage, with Wei Suo now only Zhou Tianjing's heavy cultivation, it certainly would not be able to stop the rage blow of this ancient giant claw. Explode Jindan. At this moment, Shui Linger and Jiya are already preparing to explode Jindan. Perhaps only this kind of self-detonating Jindan will save Weizhuo. Oh my god. These Jindan monks are also desperately desperate. They are going to explode Jindan. Many monks in the northern spirit city have already seen the intentions of Shui Linger and Jiya, and issued a horrified scream. What happened? Is this crazy giant claw crazy? But at this time, all the monks were shocked by the sudden change of life. Shui Linger and Jiya's Jindan also did not show any devastating light patterns. Puff. The old giant claw that was originally crushed towards Wei Suo suddenly made a violent roar again. It didn't even care about the golden yellow brilliance inserted in its wound, but now several hind legs are inserted into its own place. The wound was actually directly digging out the golden yellow flame and the large groups of flesh and blood. The blue flesh and blood flew, and there were large pieces of broken organs. The body of the ancient giant claw trembles violently in the air like a mania. But after digging out large groups of flesh and organs, and after a terrible wound in his abdomen, this ancient giant claw still did not stop, as if something terrible, wound from it drilling into it, and making a trembling sizzle, the four hind legs of the crab legs plunged into their abdomen again, digging out a mass of blood and broken organs again. Heart Eater. It was the Heart Eater who got into the wound of this ancient monster. Based on the perception of this ancient monster, it was impossible for the heartworm to approach it undetected within 10 feet of it. It must have been his calculation, and he was attracted by the blow of his flying sword on the door. At the time when this wild monster was attractive, the heartworms took the opportunity to drill in. In an instant, Jiya and others reacted and blasted away in the direction where Wei Suo fell. Boom! At the same time, a lot of glory, once again bombarded the body of the barren ancient giant claw. This time, the ancient giant claw was bombarded with uncontrollable figure, like a blue hill head falling from the sky and crashing to the ground. Oh! At the moment of the sudden landing, the wild giant claw was completely mad, and its long legs and cyan giant tail swept wildly. Everything within 100 feet of it was swept into pieces. Go! Stay away from this demon beast. Otherwise, if it explodes demon pill, we can't live any of them. Jia and others haven't plundered Wei Suo's side, but Wei Suo has stopped the falling figure, and flew towards the rear, while preaching sharply to Jia and others. Wei Suo, how are you? Keeping up with Wei Suo and violently moving towards the rear, everyone like Jia asked with a trembling voice. At the moment Wei Suo's vest on the right was almost all broken. The waist and abdomen on the right side collapsed, and the bones inside seemed to have completely shattered. I have sealed the injury with true demon sealing technique, and with my physical vitality, it is not fatal. Wei Suo looked abnormally pale at the fierce and wild giant claw, and stretched his hands slightly. He took out a vest and put it on his body. Using his heart eater is already a dangerous move for soldiers, and there is no other way. When using heart eater again, he was not sure about whether the heart eater could penetrate into the body of this ancient giant claw. Boom! At this moment, the ancient giant claw suddenly glowed with blue light, as if to move towards them, but the body had just swept more than 10 feet, and then fell heavily, making a loud noise. Ayo! The long blue legs of this wild giant claw rose again, trembling slightly, as if to be afraid to do anything, but for a moment, this wild giant claw finally made up his mind, and several long legs were ruthless. He plunged into his lower abdomen and dug into his body. This is like pulling the gut from your body. Seeing this scene, the monks all felt tight all over, chilling all over. Puff! I saw a large group of flesh and blood, and the implicated organs were pulled out by this wild ancient giant. Snapped! The long blue tail of the wild giant claw hit the ground fiercely, and the ground was cracked and a long crack appeared. Dead. The whole Beeling city, which had been so chaotic now, seemed to fall into silence instantly. With the fall of this blow, the whole body of the ancient giant claw also sank violently, unable to move. The violent and overbearing demon spirit faded from the body of this wild ancient monster like tide. Dead, this monster was actually killed by us. The figures of Wei Suo and Jia also paused in the air. This scene gave them an unbelievable feeling in their hearts. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 664. Wei Suo and Jia and others knew how powerful this wild ancient giant claw was. This wild ancient giant claw may also be a small insect in front of the real ancient Tianlong, and will be directly shot to death by a dragon claw. But this is only in front of the huge power that the ancient Tianlong can crack. The defensive power of the 8th level middle level monster beast of the ancient giant claws is extremely powerful in itself. After advancing into the 9th level monster, this defensive force is further advanced. In other respects, it may not be as good as the ordinary 9-level monster, but the defense of this carapace is far more than the ordinary 9-level monster. The attack power of Wei Suo and others did not break the carapace on their body. This wild ancient giant claw is equivalent to being in an invincible position, and with the strength of the carapace on this wild ancient giant claw, even if it is Jia and Shui Ling, it was only after the children and others blew themselves up that Jindan might not be able to hit it hard. Monsters of this level, comparable to Jindan's 5-tier monks, cannot be dealt with by Wei Suo and others. But this fell into the eyes of ordinary monks in Beeling City, but it was completely different. All these Beeling Cheng monks only saw Wei Suo's silver gleam in his body, and he was still safe under the blow of the ancient giant claw. And 3 consecutive monsters of level 8 and above, even this fierce flame, the ancient beast that suffocated with a powerful suffocating demon, were killed by them. In the eyes of all monks in Biling city, Weisuo and others are supremely magical, like a god. Even such monsters have been directly killed. The monk's supernatural powers, we will definitely be able to guard. With such a monk sitting in town, we might be able to survive today. As the entire body of the barren ancient claw sank drastically, the dust fell, and the enchantment on the body subsided like the tide. After a sudden stagnation, the entire Biling city burst into shock and cheers. Killed, killed, Weizhuo, put away this barren giant claw. The carapace of this barren ancient claw is so powerful that it can be used as a refining weapon, maybe it can be used for refining a powerful defense treasure. Even the treasure of the mighty power that shattered the sharp guns, was not shaken. The voice of the old man in green robe kept trembling. Just before Weisuo rushed to block the ancient giant claws to kill Jia and Shuilinger, he collected the ghost raising pot into the Nabeo bracelet. At this moment, Weisuo took out the ghost raising pot and put it back into his arms. Green, the old man in the robe, realized that in the blink of an eye, the ancient giant claw was actually killed by Weisuo and others, and he couldn't believe it. Because Fang Jian had just sacrificed the door plate, Weisuo knew that some monks in the city must have seen some clues, and at the moment, the three-legged topaz topping was crushed, so Weisuo did not care too much to cover up and reached out a little. The Luo Fang sacrifice came out. Weisuo and Heart Eater have a unique telepathy, and he is able to find that at this moment, the Heart Eater has entered the brain position in the back shell of the huge ancient claw through the blood of the body of the huge ancient claw. Inhaling the brain marrow of this ancient giant claw. This head of the ancient giant claw is already a real life cut off, so Weisuo has no worries. After the sacrifice of Luo Fang, he immediately drove Luo Fang to this head of the ancient giant claw. The sound of Poo was not noticed by anyone, and without anyone's awareness, the Heart Eater retreated from the wound in the abdomen of the ancient giant claw. Because at this moment Weizhuo had to put this head of ancient beast into the Nabeo bracelet, Weizhuo first halted the heartworm and quit. As soon as the Heart Eater withdrew, under the white light, this wild ancient beast was taken into the treasure trove by Weisuo. Fijian is not damaged. Then, in the vicinity of the fall of the ancient behemoth, in the middle of a pile of flesh and broken organs, Weisuo saw his door flying sword. This time, Weisuo used this blow of the door flying sword to bring the Heart Eater close to the ancient monster, and he had already made plans to damage the door flying sword. However, once the wild giant claw was infiltrated into the body by the heartworm, and found that the situation was not good, he wanted to use the method of breaking the wrist of the strong man, and wanted to dig out his large group of blood and internal organs together with the heartworm. So his flying sword on the door was actually intact, without any damage. Kill. Weisuo put away the flying sword on the door and gave a loud scream. At the same time, Li Huo fired directly towards the most dense place of the beasts above Biling city. The 4-volume Luo Fang kept rushing out, smashing huge monsters into pieces. Divided into 4 columns. 2 front and back columns are defending with full force, and the front and rear are defended separately. Han Tianmo's Li Xiao sounded again. Under the killing of monsters and beasts by the autumn wind of Weisuo and others, the monks in the northern spirit city actually stabilized their positions and no longer were as chaotic as before, fighting each other. In all directions, monsters and beasts keep pouring in. The 4-level low-level wolf-headed bats and the 4-level intermediate-level fire-eating lizard that we saw earlier have also flooded the outer wall. The number of monsters is getting more and more complicated. The whole body is covered with stone armor, the 4th-level low-level monster beast stone fangs, the 5th-level low-level red cloud bee, even the body is very large, and the body is also 2 or 3 feet. The purple flame giant beetle, which is also like a mobile house, also appeared. The appearance of this monster of the purple flame giant beetle is almost exactly the same as that of a common ladybug, but it is extremely huge. Although the body of this monster is so amazing, it will only breathe a purple smoke, and its strength is only a 4th level high level. This giant beetle, because the 2 pieces of carapace on the body is a good material for refining the shield. In addition, because of its large body, it is easy to be found, so it has been almost hunted and nearly extinct near the Sky Dome, but at this moment, the surroundings of Beeling City, mixed with various monsters, have at least thousands of heads. This type of giant ladybug's beetle is approaching. Poof, 2 beasts of dove were pierced by Huaguang and fell from the sky. Ah, a monk was pierced by the black light of the poison arrow badger, screaming and fell to the ground. A monster was cut into 2 pieces by a brilliance, but a brilliance shot out when he was dying, but also beat a monk and flew out. Such a scene, every breath, is staged on the inner wall of Beeling City. Between every breath, countless monsters and monks screamed and fell to the ground. Because there are no high-level monsters that can block Wei Suo and others, every time you breathe, the monsters killed are several times the number of casualties. But the number of monsters and beasts, I do not know how many times it is the monk of the North Spirit City. Even if the number of 10 or even 20 or 30 monsters was exchanged for the fall of a monk, the monks in the Northern Spirit City could not bear such losses. At this moment in Liwo, Weizhuo just stood, looking around, and did not shoot. Although he sealed the injury with the true demon sealing technique, it didn't look like a wounded person at the moment, but in fact, the blow of the giant claw was almost all except the bones on his left. Cheng smashed, and even his inner organs suffered severe damage. Although his flesh is extremely powerful at the moment, such injuries are not fatal, but if the real demon closure technique is lifted at this moment, the injuries in his body can only be healed immediately, and there is no time for a few days. No real element can be used at all. According to his injury at the moment, the sooner healed, the better, the longer the seal of the true demon sealing technique, and if he reacted during this period, the more he used the true element and chi and blood, the trauma would be severe. If his current injury is more serious, it is likely to result in a fatal injury. However, the situation at the moment was that Wei Suo didn't dare to lift the seal of the real demon seal technique. In half an hour, the time has just passed halfway. The original surpassed 40,000 monks, I am afraid that there are only about 20,000 remaining. There are too many monsters. Seniors, let's break out with us. The walls in Beeling City have collapsed in many places, and such calls have been heard in many places. At first, after seeing the blood of Wei Suo and others killing the ancient giant claws, in front of the endless beast tide, seeing the continuous decline of the monks around the body, many monks have begun to fall into panic and want to escape. In the state of mind. Moreover, these monks of the North Spirit City did not dare to escape, all gathered together to defend. If they, like Wei Suo and others, killed monsters and beasts in the air, they saw that the far away, still a continuous tide of beasts, I am afraid that most monks would completely lose their fighting spirit again. Seniors, you can't support it in this way. Please ask the seniors to focus on the teleportation array, protect some deists, and build a line of defense around the teleportation array. At this time, Han Tianmo's screaming sounded again. The teleportation array, why keep the teleportation array there? Why haven't you invited seniors to break out and retreat towards the city behind you? At the moment when Han Tianmo's Li Xiao sounded, many monks couldn't help but yell out. At this moment, the sky dome in the area of tens of thousands of miles has been cracked in more than 4 places. We have experienced 3 cracks in person along the way. Tens of thousands of miles, even hundreds of thousands of miles, have been swept by the beast tide. The beast tide might have swept through most of the northern part of Tianqiandalu, and it is of no use to retreat to which city. At this time, Li Huofang shot towards the direction where Han Tianmo was, and rushed over. At the same time, Wei Suo's voice rolled down, only by holding this teleportation array can I escape from this teleportation array. I have an ancient treasure that can allow the Sea Realm monks to pass this ancient teleportation array. There is no choice at this moment. If you don't want to die, all listen to Han Daio's assignment. If you don't believe what I said, you can leave now and try to escape. I can guarantee that as long as this ancient teleportation array can be activated, as long as there is no monster that I have not dealt with, the lower the monk is, the more I let him escape through this ancient teleportation first. What? The sky dome cracks all over. Beast tide swept through most of northern Tianqian mainland. The tens of thousands of miles has been swept by the beast tide. We are in the largest beast tide among the tens of thousands of years in the monastic world. Wei Suo's voice caused most of the monks in Biling City to lose their ability to think directly. Wei Suo and others, at the moment in the eyes of these monks, like gods, Wei Suo said so, although these monks were extremely shocked, but they did not dare to doubt, and all the monks who wanted to break through were also thinking we must follow Wei Suo and others, and now Wei Suo and others have said to be iron-hearted, and all monks clearly knew that they had broken all their escape routes. What Wei Suo and the remaining monks of Biling City didn't know at this moment was that at this moment, there was a light escape from the direction of the Valley Mine City, spurting towards Biling City. Gumen City and Tianchu City are the closest cities to Biling City. The distance between the three cities is almost the same. On the map of the northern part of Tianqian continent, it is a triangle. And behind this escape light was a huge black cloud. After the black cloud, there were several green demon mists, as if they were chasing this escape light. Path to Heaven. Author, Wu Ziyi. Chapter 665. Chapter 665 shakes the town. Fellow Daoist Wei, are you leaving? I will go to the valley after the city first. When I fall, I will come back first. Just worry about fellow Daoist, help me guard this person first. After a day and a half time, Wei Suo's figure came out of the tortoise shell with a few surging sound. After dealing with the Eastern Desolate Sex cultivator, Wei Suo did not go out during the next a day and a half time, only to retreat in the secret place. Now the damage in the Wei Suo naked body has been restored to 7,788. His skin is naked body, and it looks like the crystal clear and moist, walking between the divine splendor. After walking out of the tortoise shell, Wei Suo first glanced at the strange tree with the red se fruit in the distant secret place. The Eastern Desolate Sect took the lead in the young cultivator. Although it was tyrannical, it cut off all the blood of the epidermis and did not die. But Wei Suo and others heard the monster beast yesterday, and heard the young cultivator screaming. Now look, it is true that this young cultivator has become a bone fragment of the land. Nothing to stop. After looking at the secret place, I saw Wei Suo's toes, and the whole person flew out like no weight, marching along the endless ruins towards True Darkness City. At the very top of the mountain where True Darkness City is located, Wei Suo's figure paused. I saw him in the nearly 100 miles around him. The shapeshift great art has the most violent traces. The secret place is a huge pit with a diameter of several tens of feet. The ground is covered with a giant great treasure crack caused by various powerful impacts. The wreckage of various giant great treasure palaces, the fragments of crystal stone, and the secret place are scattered. On the ground, the secret place is the swaying green powder and crumbs. It seems that within this 100 miles, the vast local treasures in the original local area are mostly made of giant bricks made of green yew. Among the broken walls of a palace, there are many broken jade talisman and yew that have been split into numerous walls. Most of the great treasures are engraved with rune and text. There is also a giant great treasure of the Dan furnace and earth fire furnace, etc., broken and fell to the ground. Some of the Ling Mu, which seems to have a very long vintage, have been burnt, and some are still smoky. Actually destroyed to this extent, there are actually not even useful things. With a surging sound, the green-robed old man's figure emerged directly from Wei Suo's chest. True Darkness Sect is not too xiao, maybe there are good things to stay, but it has been scraped off by Du Wei. Young fellow, it's better to kill them all, and grab all the things. Looking at the surrounding ruins, green-robed old man called it a surging sound. When I heard green-robed old man say, Wei Suo couldn't help but roll one's eyes. This green-robed old man sounds like a slap in the face. The 6 parents don't recognize it, and there are good things to do with the old man, but Wei Suo, who knows him well, knows that he is also called on the mouth. And before a day and a half, against the batch of cultivators of Eastern Desolate Sect, when Wei Suo decided to go to Eastern Desolate Sect, Du Wei and others had taken the initiative to put their own treasure-receiving pocket out. Let Wei Suo see if there is anything useful to him. He is naturally very clear that there is no such thing as a good thing in True Darkness Sect, but it was scraped off by Du Wei and others. Even the best earth fire furnace, purple heart lantern, you gave Jia to them, now you want artifact refinement. There is no shapeshift great art. Seeing that Wei Suo didn't take care of himself, green-robed old man, who had long been used to it, was so depressed that he called it. Wei Suo still didn't answer, and then swept toward the city. Green-robed old man is still awkward along the way, very dissatisfied. Because he always felt that at this time a city seemed to belong to him. If a city is usually owned by him, and what is inside it, how can it be taken? It must be cool, but there is not much to be harvested now. Make him extremely unhappy. So many monster beast. But when I saw the valley of the monster beast corpse after seeing True Darkness City, green-robed old man screamed in the eyes, and even the Xuanhuan called, so many monster beast. It's _crew_ first name _Commonwealth _26. Young fellow, just put all these monster beasts away. Fast. So many monster beast. At a glance, the entire picture of the valley, Wei Suo cannot help but take a deep breath. The valley is a few miles deep, and it is about 200 feet deep, but now the valley is almost completely filled with the body of the monster beast. The body of the monster beast piled up like a mountain, filling the entire valley almost completely, flush with the hill. The number of monster beasts is not tens of thousands, but at least 100,000. This is completely over. I still haven't done it yet, so let's see what other Xiao of the hottest men have said, which chapters have been updated.